All right, so here's the story. I spent an entire day machining a mist cooler. You know, one of those fancy little gadgets that sprays coolant using compressed air and black magic, or the Venturi effect, if you're into science. Now, I could have waited for the one I ordered online, but where's the fun in that? Plus, I wanted to make something while I wait. And what better way to spend an afternoon than turning aluminum into chips and questionable decisions? So the way it works is pretty simple. Air goes through here, sucks coolant up from this bottle, and bam, instant mist. In theory. Surprisingly, it turned out okay. Threads even fit the first time, which either means I'm getting better, or I got lucky. I used a 1.2 millimeter contact tip for a welder as a nozzle. In practice, I got everything from fog machine at a concert to it's raining inside the garage, depending on how full the bottle was. And right as I finish it, guess what shows up? But hey, now I've got a backup, or a very shiny paperweight. Professionally made. Probably tested by actual engineers. Unlike mine, which was tested by me. And on a wall. And not just the mist cooler, I also ordered 2 regulators. Because why have one complicated setup when you can have 2? One for the air, one for the coolant. It's like dual wielding, but for fluid control. The idea is that I can dial in the air pressure and the coolant pressure separately. See, a lot of people online say that if you only rely on the Venturi effect, which is just air zooming past a tube and sucking liquid up like a juice box, you get a nice, fine mist, and if I trusted the fine mist to stay on the tool and not migrate into my lungs, that'd be great. But the bottle looks like it came straight out of a chemical warfare lab. So instead, I want to pressurize the coolant slightly. That way it comes out in little drops, not an aerosol cloud I have to breathe in for the next 3 hours. Plus, it actually cools better when it hits the tool and sticks instead of just fogging up my whole shop. And when I say my shop, I mean this prestigious corner of the garage. All right, here are the rules. I'm not a designer, so CAD time doesn't count. That's just me clicking and hoping. I'm costing my time at $20 an hour. That's the minimum I'd accept to make it worth doing. No fixtures. This is a one-off, so I'm keeping setup time and material waste to a minimum. I can use any machine I have to speed up the process. CNC, lathe, drill press, whatever helps. I'll price the stock at retail, even if I already have it. Gotta keep it realistic. I have 1 week to sell the product. If it doesn't sell, I've failed the challenge. I picked up this 20mm aluminum offcut. No cutting charge since it was already the perfect size. The seller charges by the kilo, rounded up. I paid $7 for it. I trimmed off the excess on the bandsaw to save machining time, then drilled out the centers of all the pockets. I could have let the CNC do everything, but this is about speed, not proving a point. First, I machined the sides parallel and brought them as close to final size as I could. After that, a quick facing pass to clean up the top surface. Then I moved on to pocketing, leaving 0.5 millimeters of stock for the finishing pass. I'll add the cost of the end mills to the total, though in reality, I'd be making multiple parts with each one. so the cost per part would go down. To balance things out, though, I'm not factoring in electricity costs. We're keeping it fair and simple. It's at this stage my cam skills kind of fall apart. I haven't learned enough to really optimize the tool paths and bring the cutting time down, so this took longer than it probably should have. Basically, the machine was working hard, because I didn't. I roughed most of the material with a 6mm end mill that had a 15mm flute length. The part was 19.5mm tall, so to finish at full depth without rubbing, I needed a longer flute. I had a longer end mill on hand, but it was too long, so I trimmed it down with a diamond wheel. Probably not textbook, but it worked. I did mess up one thing though. The corners had a 3mm radius, and I figured I could just run them with the 6mm cutter. That was never going to work at full depth, so in the end I switched to a 4mm long end mill to finish those properly. Now for the part I was actually looking forward to, chamfers. Nothing fancy, just a quick pass, but it instantly makes an ordinary part look way better. Like deliberately made instead of accidentally finished. 5% function, 95% vibes. The part was flipped over, faced, and then chamfered. And that was it. In total, I spent about 30 minutes trimming and pre-drilling the holes. Then I spent another hour and a half setting up and babysitting the cutting process. Next up, a case for the wine bottle balancer. I thought wood would really complement the aluminum. But apparently, wood is fancy now. Way more expensive than I expected. Laser cut MDF crossed my mind, but honestly, it felt a bit too low effort for the amount of work I'd already put in. So I settled on acrylic. Looked clean, modern, and then immediately turned into a mission. To get it laser cut professionally would have cost me $55. And since I'm not selling the case, that was out of the question. So I ended up cutting it myself with my low-power laser engraver. Not ideal, but it got the job done. Eventually, I glued the acrylic and added some foam. Here's the result. Next time, I'll be setting up a small shop and trying to sell this as a product. I'd really appreciate your input. Let me know in the comments what you think would be a good price for it as a luxury item and which platform you would use to sell it. A huge thank you to my friends at Du Toys Kloofwijn for allowing me to take photos on their beautiful property, and to my parents for helping with the photography. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.